I'm Ian Rush and you're watching the Redmen TV.
Yeah, well, okay, well, we're going to move on. We obviously, great to have Craig with us, a genuine Evertonian. Obviously from Liverpool, because we don't have fans outside of the city. Oh, that's not true, actually. We'll come on to that in 2 seconds. Anyway, sorry.
Yes, they do.
If you joined us on YouTube, welcome. This is the match build-up for the Merseyside Derby. We have a blue in our midst. Craig joined us. Yeah, as I've just said there, you know, he's from Liverpool, as you'd expect, as an Evertonian. Everton put this thing out the other week where it was like, tweet us where you're going to be watching the game from. And basically what they've just done is they've completely undermined Evertonians' arguments that like we're the club with all the foreign fans.
It was all Liverpool based Everton fans on holiday at the time. Like, did you not see the promotion with it right here?
I was going to say they were all in Malaga. They were all in
I could believe it if it was a caravan site in Wales, but I'm not having it that they all go to Malaga.
That's a lacquer. Sounds foreign, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, but I thought that was hilarious. Like, I mean, there were so many Evertonians who were like, no, we're the proper Liverpool club and blah blah blah. There's a lad, and the one that Mike called out last season, who follows us on Twitter. If you're watching, you know you're at. I'm not going to name check you. And he's from Ireland, and he's like, fuck off, you red shite and all that. It's like, your fans don't even like you. Your fans think you're a knobhead because you're not from Liverpool and you support Everton, and you're not meant to do that. That's not how it works. The People's Club. Not very people of Ireland. They're not very the North Wales and County Road People's Club. Yes. Anyway, the match. Yeah, I have with me Chris, Craig, and Mike. Chris, the Merseyside Derby is literally the most stressful time of the year.
It's horrible, especially when I used to live with my brother as well. Do you know what I mean? In the same house, and you're there, and the whole week. He can fucking hold a grudge or stay and everything, like, you know what I mean? He can peck your head, like, the whole week he's giving me shit, we're going to whoop your ass, we're going to whoop your ass, we're going to beat you, and you just look at him and go, you're a stupid fool, because you're not. But you have to put up with him nonetheless, and he won't shut up, and it's so stressful, and then all of a sudden, 10, 15 minutes in, he's throwing shit around, and then it becomes lovely, and then I open my mouth and ruin it all.
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, it does. Go on, Craig, similarly for you, I mean, particularly when it comes to the Anfield derbies, you know, there must be a certain, like, you must be getting a bit pissed off with it by now, like.
What is it now? 11 years with Moyes without anything. I can't even name one before that. Kevin Campbell, maybe.
Quite possibly.
Yeah.
We don't throw back to those games. Not on this show. No, I mean from your perspective, of course, you know the thing is we might be divided in the colour of the shirt to where the teams we support, but the derby is just it, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You know, it's such a good game to watch. Like the last derby, I watched it both with red and blue. The previous one before that, there's about 15 of us crammed into a room, again split, and it's good because it's a bit of banter and all that. As long as you know them, I know you go outside and at times I think you can get a bit more trouble. But in a weird way, stuff like Hillsborough's done a lot to, again, bring the city back together. And it's actually becoming not so much friendly. You know, I don't think it'll ever be friendly is what they say, like happened during the Charity Shield. But I think it's getting a bit more of a jokey banter again. Like you can say, oh yeah, I'm a blue to a red, and it can actually be all right now. So still never as fucked out. I
even go back to like the semi-final last season because we parked in somewhere miles away, a car park, no, somewhere down in London, you know, that day of smoke. And the town where we were getting the train into Wembley from was designated Everton, so all the Everton pubs, and we'd gone into a bookies to put a few bets on because the National was on that day as well, wasn't it? And the bookies was full of Evertonians, and we just had a laugh, you know what I mean? We went into the Everton pub and we had a few drinks with them in there and stuff like that, and there was no, even though the bouncers were reluctant to let us in, there was no bother. And then the worst thing that happened was they kept us apart, because then you went down the park just outside Wembley Way, there was Reds and Blues there kicking footies about together, having beers, and you don't get that anywhere else. All right, we'd take the piss out of each other, and there are a few knobheads who go at each other, but at the end of it, we go back to normal, don't we? You know
I think a lot of it comes from, I think, if you've got a pure a purebred family. You know what I mean? You can get a little bit insular over it and maybe take it a little bit too seriously.
Like my muddle family, like over there. You know what I mean?
We haven't had a Harry Potter reference in a while from you, Chris. Fucking hell, I thought, you know, anyone who thought the Harry Potter series was dead, no, it lives on at Redmen TV. I mean, I'm not saying this is necessarily 100% true, because we had no blues in our family, like you mean, but then again, you know, we've got a much better ethos as a club. No, it's but there is obviously there is a real edge to it at times. It's that thing of, there's that video doing the rounds, wasn't there, that you should just draw with someone and some lad gets stuck in a car outside Goodison Park in a Liverpool shirt, and he's just but it's funny because but they're just singing murderers at him, and it's like, come on, he's just coming back from town or whatever, like, you know. But I remember the flip side of it was when we had the European Cup parade in 2005, under the flyover on Queen's Drive, and Evertonian got stuck in his car. But mostly people were just going up to him, banging on the window and going like that to him, like, you know what I mean? It was a good fun, but I always feel with Everton there's a lot more, and we talk about the bitterness side. I do feel that's turned into more of a nasty streak. For me, it feels like there's more nastiness on Everton's perspective than there is from Liverpool's side. Not from you, though, mate.
That's your opinion. You know, it's strange because, like, for the 90 minutes during the game, it's a horrible, as you say, nerve-wracking thing, like, to which I do despise you in that sense of, like, watching that game with a red. It's like, you can sit there, we can have a bit of a laugh. You push me though. I'm sure someone's getting thrown at your head. Like,
the second time bomb of aggression waiting to go off.
Is that, like, but I don't know, for me, like, I can see the business argument two ways. I think Liverpool play on an awful lot more, Liverpool fans anyway, playing it an awful lot, because any time we had come back with anything bitter. But we did. Aren't you bitter? No, I'd love to know the full definition of bitter, and the definition of bitter as a Liverpool fan towards us. Yeah.
Oh well, I think there are definitely bitter Reds as much as there are bitter Blues. Like, you know what I mean? And but the problem is, of course, I'm very much of the opinion that the bitter Blues that aren't bitter Blues should probably have been Liverpool fans, and vice versa. Like, you know, I just don't believe that Melo should have been born a Red. You know what I mean? Like, because yeah, I know.
Oh, thank you.
Test that one, like. Anyway, okay then. Obviously, David Moyes has got this sort of 10-year curse going on at Anfield. I mean, like, we'll come to you first, Chris, on this. It's a big worry for me. Brendan Rodgers having to carry on this. I think in some respects we've just come off the back of a massive win against Newcastle. It's a big test for us, and it's the biggest, probably the biggest test of Brendan Rodgers' credentials, because he's got that weight of history now on his shoulders.
I think this is where Brendan's going to look to Carragher and Gerrard to really get the team fired up, and it maybe won't be him, but he'll definitely use them before the game to sort of get the team fired up and make the rest of the team realise how important it is, and just, he's got to start this one again, high tempo, because that's what Derby's about. Everton can come out the blocks, and we need to come out the blocks at the same time.
Controlled aggression as well, rather than just coming out and snapping people left, right, and centre.
Yeah, so maybe don't listen to just Stevie on that one.
Yeah. Well, at least he can tell them what not to do.
Yeah, that's true. Listen, lads, you'll get a red if you do what I do, so don't.
Yeah, Carragher can teach people how to foul people in the box and get free kicks. No, I mean, Mike, my major concern with Liverpool in this, as I just alluded to there, it's a test of this team's character, because I think it was an incredible performance to go Newcastle, having had the week we'd had with the Suarez stuff. But we're going to get to see now Liverpool, we've been so inconsistent. Part of you thinks, well, great, we should be able to go now into the derby off the back of a 6-0 win and just continue that. But I have a big fear that we don't have the right mentality, and we might get a little bit complacent or cocky.
I don't know, I don't think that your Gerrards and your Carragers will let people get complacent. I think there's enough. All of the young lads in that team, there's some, mature heads, like Henderson. Downing's been around the block, he knows what these type of games are going to be about. It's where you turn to your English players, isn't it? And I think having Sturridge has played in enough derbies, and he's got experience at that kind of level. The only one I worry about is maybe Coutinho, after having all the plaudits that he's had in the last week. If he gets a kick in,
that's a good point.
Early doors.
Will he be able to stand up to the physical game? I mean, Miller, obviously, if he will be, if he plays in the sort of 10 position, he's going to be key for us. Is he the kind of player, you know, who would you reckon Everton would play to sort of, would they target him?
My worry is Moyes is so negative in these games, like, and he played 4-4-2 against Fulham. And
two up front.
Two up front. Yeah. Not that Anna Chavin Yelovich are really counting as two players, but
just one.
Yeah. It depends just exactly on what formation. If he sits Fellaini in that hole, I think he'll want Coutinho out. In the sense of he can do that job. He sits deep, and he will. You know, you were saying before about Lucas getting from side to side. You watch Fellaini, and Fellaini does that, and they're now saying, well, are we losing Fellaini, the fact that he's not that attacking threat? Well, we signed him as a defensive midfielder. Yeah. It's a bonus that he can play up there. But it just depends on Moyes. I think, you know, whether Moyes plays negative like he did in the last derby or whether he doesn't, it's now.
Well, there's a concern that if we were talking about whether Moyes will carry on past this season, if he has plans to move on in the summer, this could be a case of him thinking, fuck it. You know what I mean? Maybe he does change and goes all out for this one.
Because if he does do that, the bonus is, you know, there's nothing to play for. I still think we'll finish above yous.
You got Chelsea last game of the season.
Yeah, we're all at
Chelsea.
Chelsea, yeah. See a draw that place. I think they'll be signed on for top 4. We've got West Ham between, which again I think we'll get the points there. So I'd love them to go gung-ho and throw people like Barkley in there, throw two up front, Pienaar, who else? Morales, people like that, and just go, right, let's just go and play some football.
For me, like, I would dread to see Fellaini up front for them. I would dread to see it, always try and deal with him, like, because I don't think Carragher and Agger and Lucas...
Well, look, all you've got to do is drop balls in our box and we go to pieces.
No, well, look at we ended up putting, we changed it and put Coates on, didn't we, in the Goodison Derby, basically to counteract the threat of Fellaini. Okay, quickly, let's have some quick stat attackage. Before I do that, quickly, Everton have won just 1 of 7 away matches in 2013. Which basically says these are going to win this one based on the way those things work. Okay, form guide. Everton are 4th in the form table from the last 6 games. Win, draw, loss, win. But their last 6 away games: draw, loss, draw, loss. Which does, as I say, you know, it does bode well, the form guide. But as we know,
form guy goes out the window on Derby Day.
Of course it does. Let's have a quick Dangerman focus then on the aforementioned Marwan. Fellaini started 28 games, scored 11 goals, 5 assists. Total chances created 33. He's got a shooting accuracy of 47%. Clear chance conversion 18% and a clear cut chance conversion of 38%, which is a pretty decent return for the man who essentially doesn't play.
What a defensive midfielder. Diddy man never got 11 goals in a season.
How often? I mean, this season where has he predominantly played?
As the attacking midfielder.
Yeah.
It's only been the last few games where we've finally got a full squad back together and he's started to drop more, like. But that is his better position is the defensive midfielder. But
it's the short blanket. Well, it's short blanket syndrome, isn't it? Is that if you've got a player who's the best player in a number of positions, where do you put him? Are you better playing in an attacking position and maybe self-believing you're weaker in defensive mid, etc., etc. But on that issue, do you have better options to replace him in the attacking sense, or better options to replace him in the defensive sense?
Well, that's where I'd give Ross Barkley his chance. I'd have him as the attacking, playing in the hole. He did so well against Arsenal, like. In the derby, don't know when it's the right game. It swings and roundabouts in the derby.
Arsenal haven't really got snap midfielders who are going to snap you, whereas Gerrard's going to give you a kick in there, isn't he?
Lucas, the size of Barkley.
He's a big lad to play. It's derby tactics, isn't it?
Yeah, but this is the thing, you find out mentalities of kids as well. You can be built like a brick shit house, but doesn't mean you've got the mental strength to be able to get booted by Steven Gerrard, like, you know what I mean? Let's hope he hasn't. I can't have it now. Okay, your trivia question for this week. Steven Gerrard bagged the hat-trick in this fixture last year. Yeah, he did. To give the Reds all 3 points. The last hat-trick in a competitive game between the two clubs before that was Ian Rush in the 4-1 win at Goodison. but when was the last time an Everton player scored a hat-trick in this fixture? Leave your answers in the comments section underneath or tweet us the answer at the Redmen TV. I don't think I'll know the answer unless you've read it.
I knew the answer before you.
Did you?
I did.
Bollocks. Yeah. Bollocks.
I haven't read it, but I want to know now.
Well, keep it to yourselves. Okay, we're gonna move on. We'll give you the trivia answer at the end of the show if Chris reminds me to do it. Right. Okay. Okay. Let's get a little bit bold on this one. 5-point gap, Mike. Is it too much too late?
I think if we win on Sunday, we could overhaul it.
Craig, is it insurmountable?
I think so, yeah. I think just the fact that we've got West Ham, and as I say, we normally draw against Chelsea.
Yeah, but if it happens though and we win our last 3 games, then we'll finish above you.
Yeah. What?
But if they draw against West Ham?
If you
draw against Chelsea, as you said.
If you draw against Chelsea, we will finish above you if we win all our games.
Well, there you go.
My worry is
that's consistency if you win all your 3 games.
Yeah, it's a big
if we put 4 back-to-back wins together, which we haven't done
in a million years,
off the back of it without our star striker, then we will, yeah. Well, but equally, if you know, next season, if we win all of our games, then we might win the league. This won't be an issue, like, you know. So go on.
Like Chelsea, you've got a strong chance of beating them, especially if they're in the final of the Europa League. Do you know what I mean? Because they'll be looking forward to that. And as Craig said before, I think they will probably have wrapped up top 4 anyway.
Here's a question that does anyone know the answer to? If Chelsea win the Europa League and finish in the top 4, does that Europa League place go to 6th in the Premier League?
No, it doesn't.
No, there's no chance we're going to 6th.
Okay, then how many red cards do Man City have to pick up between now and the end of the season in order for us to guarantee top spot in the fair play? No. Yeah, I mean, Miller, just quickly, you get to get back into the Europa League for next season?
Again, it's all down to money, isn't it? You look at how bad Newcastle suffered. I hate Pardew. But they have, I think, suffered because they've been in Europe. Now,
squad.
Yeah, it is that, isn't it? Like, we've got a tiny squad. Them 14 players are really good, but, well, in my opinion anyway, them 14 players, but past that, you just struggle, don't you? And I think without 5 or 6 signings, I don't think it's right for next season.
You only have to look at what it did to us as well. It kind of scuppered our season as well.
Well, I think we were okay because we played a second string team in the Europa League.
When it got down to it, we had to bring Gerrard and Suarez on and all that kind of.
But yeah, I suppose I mean, it definitely highlights the shortcomings in your side. Let us know that, you know. Obviously, we're all about trying to get above Everton, but if we get above them, do you really want to be in the Europa League? We asked this question 2 years ago and we didn't. Last season we really did, and I think it's quite split at the minute because I want us to be in Europe because I think Liverpool exists to be in Europe, and I also want Everton to be in Europe because she's generally fucking up royally, and it makes me.
Get cheated, don't we?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, okay then. Let's talk about the lineups then. Craig, how do you think Everton are going to line up?
2 teams of either 4-5-1 or he's going to go 4-3-3.
The ball's out, all out of time.
So it's 4-5-1 then?
Yeah, so it's 4-5-1, and a change up front on his own. Straight back 4 of Distan Jags, Coleman, Baines, 5 in midfield, Morales, Pienaar, Fellaini, Osman, Gibson up front, and a change on his own. 4-5, boring 1. Okay,
Chris, do you think we're going to be unchanged from the
I think we're going to be unchanged, but I think completely unchanged. But if anything, I think he might swap Henderson and Coutinho back around.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah,
basically take Coutinho out of the final line at the midfield. Like
that's where Everton play Fellaini.
The beauty is, of course, we've got the option to make that change on the pitch. It doesn't necessarily need to be how you start. You can start Coutinho wherever the fuck you want. Like,
I just don't think they're going to give as much space as Newcastle did, and so that way Coutinho will get a little bit more space out on the left.
Yeah, but that's, you mean because Everton aren't shit?
Yeah,
like Newcastle.
Like, exactly.
Everton aren't completely shit, and that's as highest praise you'll ever get from me on your football club.
And David Moyes is a better tactician than Alan Pardew.
Playing Coutinho out left as well pushes Coleman back as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, there is that. It's going to be interesting how they line up. I'm fascinated to see how the midfield goes up again, because if you play 5 in midfield, there's a worry that, as you say, if you play Coutinho as the 10, it does leave us a little bit lightweight in the middle of the park, and you'd need to have Henderson in there just to give us a bit more of physicality. Anyway, let us know how do you think Liverpool are going to line up? Let us know in the comment section underneath. Okay, then we've got seconds left, so let's go to your score predictions. Michael,
and then let's do the answer for the quiz.
Atkinson, yes, quickly.
2-1 Liverpool.
2-1 Liverpool. Mello.
0-0.
0-0.
Boring score.
2-0 Liverpool.
2-0.
You heard it here first.
3-1. I think Everton are going to go 1-0 up and we're going to win 3-1.
What was the answer, Pablo?
Okay, and the answer to this week's trivia question, Steven Gerrard bagged a hat-trick in the fixture last year to give the Reds all 3 points. He was the last Everton player to score a hat-trick in the fixture, and it was...
William Ralph Dixie D.
Dixie D, yeah. In 1931, a 3-1 win against the Reds at Anfield. If you got that right, congratulations. Give yourself a big fucking pat on the back. Yes, thank you very much for joining us on the show this week. If you want to watch more, if you watch this on YouTube and you want to watch the full Merseyside Derby special, go to www.theredmentv.com. It's free for the month for you to try it out, see if you enjoy it. If you don't like it, you can fuck it straight off. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us this week. Of course, Chris, Craig, crossing enemy lines.
Thank you.
Will you come back next week to talk about it?
It's 2-all last time, I was all happy.
Alright, well, we'll see how we get on with that one. And yes, thank you very much, Mike. I hope you've enjoyed seeing us in the new studio. I know it might be a little bit echoey because it's a big fucking room, but we'll obviously we're just trying it out. Yeah,
problems. Thanks very much, Dave, as well.
Yeah, thanks, Dave, behind the camera. He's now got headphones and a mixing desk. Gone up in the world. Yeah, thank you very much for watching the show. If you're already a subscriber, you're a fucking hero. If you're not yet, you too can be a hero, so do it. Anyway, we'll see you after the derby at the weekend. Ta-ra.